Hi, everyone. Like Philip said, my name is Liz Ruppel. I am the policy organizer at the Illinois Stewardship Alliance. Just a little bit about who we are and why I'm here to talk to you today about the rules and regulations. We are a membership-based nonprofit organization. We do statewide work. We do state legislation and also federal legislation. We help do a lot with the Farm Bill. Local food, we made it a national priority, so that was a really big achievement. And we made some wins on conservation for programs like the Conservation Stewardship Program. So our vision and our mission is to really just keep family farms as stewards of the land. We do that by building local food and farm systems that are economically viable, socially just, and environmentally sustainable. So working with industrial hemp was kind of a no-brainer. A lot of our members that are farmers at the small and large scale were just starting to dip into more conventional growers and working with them. They asked, why not Illinois? Why the wait? Why are we, almost last in this race to start growing hemp? So that's something we started working on 2 years ago. We had a couple lobby days. We do a lot of advocacy work, and we get to the Capitol. We're actually just right across the street. So we called on our membership, and we called on our coalition of other organizations. Many of them are speaking with you today, like Rob Davies and Taylor Shuck, and Chris Berry that also spoke with his wife, Rachel Berry. And it took a little while. We didn't work on this issue as long as some others that you might meet that have been focusing on this issue for decades. But in 2 years, in 2018, we were able to successfully lobby and pass the Industrial Hemp Bill with the help of that huge coalition of and that alliance of folks. So in 2018, at the end of August, Governor Rauner finally signed the bill. That meant that the Department of Agriculture could start working on these rules and regulations. And we did a little celebrating in October. That's what we like to do. We like to celebrate our wins too. So now here we are with these general provisions. So if you haven't read the rules and regulations, this is just going to be pretty basic overview of what you all can expect. So in our general provisions, we have basically, you need a license to grow hemp. You can't do this without a license, and you have to get that through the Department of Agriculture. Because we're kind of following under the 2014 Farm Bill, you have to have some research information, but it's different from what you had to do before, where everyone had to have a different type of research. This is all going to be congruent and uniform. I'll let you know what that is in just a little bit. You have to procure your own seeds and clones, etc., and all of those that you procure for yourself have to go through the Association of Official Seed Certifying Agencies. That is one of the rules that might be staying, and it's not as scary as you think. We'll talk about that more with the Q&As if you would like, and then you basically can't share your license with anyone else. It is yours. You can have some other names on it if you are a business entity or an LLC or something, but you can't give your license to anyone else to use. Continuing with that, don't grow marijuana, only grow industrial hemp. You have to have 1/4 of an acre or at least 500 square feet in an indoor cultivation. And if your land area perhaps is separated by a stream or some kind of forested area, then you have to have a separate application for each of those non-contiguous land areas. Basically, they can share your information with law enforcement if they need to, and just don't break the rules. So our draft rules, we found that these are pretty good. The rules are pretty good. There were a lot of comments. We did have a public hearing back in February. There were a lot of comments made, but we will see some change with some of these, especially if you'll notice number 1, that you have to apply 90 days before you decide to plant. That is definitely going to change, or else there is no hope in planting this year. So I foresee that rule being eliminated or the date lowering, perhaps. Background checks. You must get a background check. This is a rule in the federal Farm Bill, and it is required by the state. And you have to get your background check through the Department of Agriculture. Basically, if you've committed a crime, of dishonesty, a felony, drug-related crime, you can't apply within 5 years. That's what our rules said before, but the Farm Bill actually bumps that up to 10 years. So it's a little more strict in the Farm Bill. But we did advocate for the crime of dishonesty to be eliminated from that. But we hope that the whole thing would be eliminated because hemp is not an illegal substance, and we were hoping that it wouldn't be treated like that, but that's the way it goes. Number 5, if you'll notice, the license fee is $1,000, and that's for 3 years. When broken down, that seems kind of fair, but then when you look at their requirement that you would only have to have a 1/4 of an acre or 500 square feet, that seems very unfair for the smaller scale farms versus those that want to have 200 plus acres. So many organizations, including ours, advocated for a graduated scale fee like Wisconsin has that looks at per acre, and that would also lower the license fee. I do believe, I have confirmed with the department, that they are ensuring that the rules are going to be more just and more inclusive. So I think that was hinting at that is going to change to more of a gradual scale. If you do want to make any changes to your license plan, you can expect a charge. I think this $200 fee might still apply, but like I said, these are still draft rules. That could change. And you have to register through, if you're a processor or handler, through the department as well. And so we're going to take a look at just the application and what you guys can expect. This is pretty basic information that I do believe none of this is going to change. Your name, address, your business name, your legal description of the land. You have to have GPS coordinates. They also want a map of the land area. Documentation to prove that you are a farm as defined in the property tax code. So basically, if you don't have that property tax code as the rules are written right now, you cannot apply. It does take 2 years you have to have been farming under the category of agriculture to acquire that property tax code. So if that is something you don't have now, you can expect possibly a 2-year wait. We did advocate for that to change because this rule does exclude a lot of people in Illinois, especially urban growers that already do farm, that have the farming experience from growing industrial hemp. So we're hoping that that will change. And for every application, expect a $100 fee. If you're looking for processing and handling, it's basically the same application, except you need to have the nature of the processing or handling on your application. And for each possible facility, you're expected to pay $1,000. I'm not sure if that's going to change. And this is the research information that I was talking to you guys about. Basically, it's going to be 3 steps. You have your pre-planting report, and that is just verifying the seeds, that it is industrial hemp, looking at the varieties, and then where you are sourcing them from. Pretty standard, and this is what everyone's going to have to do. You also have a harvest report, and that's 30 days prior to harvest. They're just wanting to know where you're taking your hemp, if it's going to be an in-state processing, which is currently not available. We don't have any processing in Illinois as it stands right now, but everything is in the works. If that is not an in-state processor, then where are you going to take it outside of the state? Expected harvest dates in those locations, and if anything does change, you have to notify the department. And finally, you have your final report. That's no later than February 1st. So they want to know the total acres, what varieties you planted, and they also want to know the yields. So just 3 reports. It's standard right now as we have to do it. And then we're looking at inspection and sampling. So you can expect 1 inspection a year to comply with this act. They are going to notify you 5 business days in advance, so that's why those harvest reports and everything is really important to the department so they can kind of stay on track. You, as a license holder, or someone else has to be present that falls under that category when they do come and inspect. If your plant tests hot, which if you do not know what that means that it's going to test higher than 0.3% THC content. That means it's hot, and they are, as it stands right now, they will destroy the crop. We and many other organizations advocated that there be an alternative route to be taken, so as a farmer you don't have to watch your plant go up in smoke. So we're hoping to see some changes for use in textiles, so on and so forth. And basically don't take any other steps until you get approval that your plant has tested okay. this is wrong, March 28th. Don't look at that. I was hoping that the rules would be published then, but I'm actually reassured that the department took these comments into consideration and did a lot of work on the rules and regulations. So instead of a March 28th date, I believe the final hearing for this JCAR process will be April 11th. And April 16th, around that time, is when we should see that our application process is going to open up. Hopefully. This is, I mean, don't quote me on this, but hopefully April 16th is when we can kind of see this happen. That means an online process will open. If that is not working, if we face those challenges, everything will be done with paper, and that is also with the background checks. So where can you find the rules? The Department of Agriculture is going to post them when they're finalized. They will be in the Illinois Register. If you're on our Industrial Hemp listserv that I facilitate with the Illinois Stewardship Alliance, we will blast out the new rules so you all can read. And we are also going to create a downloadable guide for farmers to navigate the application and license process. So that is also going to be blasted through that Industrial Hemp listserv. It's free. It's just a PDF download. We just want your name and your address so we can maybe send you a thank you or something. But that will include important dates to keep note of for your harvest reports and when to expect the process to open up, and contact information for some of the partners that we've worked very closely with, like the Industrial Hemp Industries Association, the Farmers Union, the Growers Association as well. And if you haven't already, this is my email. Please take it down if you do have any questions about the rules and regulations. And outside of the door, I do have a clipboard that you can sign up for the listserv. So either email me or please write legibly on that clipboard, and I will put your email onto the listserv. It's a really nice networking listserv. We are able to talk amongst ourselves with other farmers throughout Illinois and other stakeholders, and we've lately been talking about more processing opportunities and events that are coming up. So if you would like to stay informed through that, please feel free to sign up. This is other contact information. It's our office number and, again, my email. And I just wanted to say that the Stewardship Alliance just would like to be your resource for understanding the rules and regulations, and we are very happy to be here today with you all to answer those questions. If there is anything left unanswered, please feel free to reach out to me, and thank you for having us. Thank you, Philip.